Welcome back to Real Conversations with Nora for our 27th episode. And our topic of discussion this week is loneliness in this social world during the holiday seasons. Joining me today are two of my dearest friends, Gloria Mayfield-Banks, and she is an elite executive national sales director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. She holds the #1 position in the company. Crisette Ellis, First Lady of Greater Grace in Detroit, Michigan, and National Sales Director with Mary Kay. Gloria and Chris, thank you so much for joining me today.
We're excited to be here with you. We're excited. Hey, Chris, Nora.
How are you?
Great.
So let's talk with our audience about some of the ways that they can find comfort during the holiday seasons, because we know the pandemic. I mean, Gloria, you have a huge Thanksgiving party at your house, which was diminished at of course this year. Chris, you too. You have a lot of people over. And so, people are finding it challenging during this time of the year, especially now that, they were finding it challenging during Thanksgiving, but really finding it challenging during Christmas because, you open gifts, the kids. Anyway, your kids are all grown. You have grandkids, Gloria. So let's talk a little bit about that. Want to start, Chris?
I'm sure. Thanksgiving did look a little different this year for us. We normally get together with our family. We have games, my sisters, and we just, do the whole thing and just laugh and talk and catch up. And
you do baking too, right?
Yeah. Well, we normally do some baking together. And so this year it did look a lot different. I know this year everybody got on a Zoom and literally we were on there laughing and talking and really it wasn't exactly the same, but the personalities still come through Zoom. People were still, laughing and having a good time. And then of course, the guys took over and started talking about sports and they arguing and fussing about who's this, who's that. And it was so funny because you went on Zoom, it wasn't not one woman on there, no female. All the women were like, whatever. So the men literally absconded with our Thanksgiving Zoom because they start talking sports and stats and all of that. Now, Gloria, I know you're a sports fanatic, you into it, so you probably would have been the only woman still on there arguing and fussing and talking about he's the greatest.
I'm not sports myself either, Chris. I'm with you on that one.
So that's what our Thanksgiving looked like. And you know what? At the end of the day, the bottom line is we still created some joy. And the most important thing is everybody that was there, they're healthy, they're safe, and we didn't leave with any regrets.
Wow. Good. Gloria?
Right. Well, what I was thinking, I was thinking that everybody is at a different place. And so those who have a very positive attitude need to come at it when they're feeling positive. And those that don't feel that great at that time need to take energy from those who are positive, because the next day, everything can turn. The one that was really positive on Monday is feeling sort of sorry on Tuesday. And so that other people have to kick in. I have found that we are looking for different kind of blessings. For instance, text messaging has become hilarious. I mean, the group text messaging, you know how you pass it from one group to the next group to the next group. I mean, now people are sending some stuff because they know people need to laugh. I tell them all the time, I just want to laugh. I just want to laugh. I want to laugh. I want to laugh. I don't know why I do turn on the TV, because every time I turn on the TV, I get depressed. But I turn on my phone and I start laughing. So I think that the way people connect is important. We also did a Zoom and, it's so funny. Everybody is Zoomed out. Like everybody is Zoomed out. And then as soon as they get on the Zoom, you can't get them off the Zoom. Like, we need to go. Now, Gary, let's tell another story. No, we need to go. No, let's tell another story. So that was sort of funny. And then, y'all, for real, the conversations of those who normally don't cook and needed to cook.
Like
it was so embarrassing. And people like myself who don't cook at all, I found this caterer. The food was delicious. I'm already ready to order Christmas. So I think that is true. We have to stay vigilant.
Right.
We just have to. Like, I think we need to, one more thing, we have to get fresh air.
Right.
Especially for those of us who live where it's starting to get a little cold. Like today it was warm. I went out. I feel so much better. You got to get fresh air, because honestly, when you stay in, you literally stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we get ready to go into the holidays and we're missing our family, we have to think of different ways to make them smile and make them laugh and connect and know that people do want to hear from you. And if you have a long conversation, don't call me because I ain't trying to talk to nobody a long time. But I will talk to everybody a little bit.
And one of the other things you asked Nora about, that was Thanksgiving, what are you going to do for Christmas? Because for many households, the tradition of Christmas and Christmas morning, exchanging gifts, and then the grandkids and all of that, that just has so many warm memories, and it just makes you feel good. So, a lot of cities are having where you can get in the car and drive. Like, we're going to take my father this week, and there's several different places. DTE has a beautiful display of outdoor Christmas lights where it's a 20-minute ride. You get in your car and you don't have to worry about anything because you're just in your car and you're driving through and you see the array of beautiful Christmas lights and figurines and so on and so forth. And downtown Detroit, somebody was telling me, take your dad there because, you don't even have to get out of the car. They got the big Christmas tree. Wow. So you just have to become a little bit more creative and, make it work. Make it work.
Right. Well, so that brings me to my next question, because I think people need to know that they're not alone during this time of the year and that they need to reach out to people and call people, because a lot of people are just not reaching out. And so, like you said, Gloria, they don't go out and they feel stuck. But let's talk about how to get unstuck. Let's talk a little bit more about that, reaching out.
Yesterday, I did this thing where I was telling everybody one of the things that you can do if you're not feeling great is to do something for someone else when they least expect it. Right. It doesn't have to cost you anything, but it's so amazing that when you make someone else smile and you make their heart smile, you immediately start smiling. It could be a voicemail of encouragement. It could be a text message. It could be something that you drop by their house that they least expected. They might have given you a compliment on a shirt and you just so happen to drop that shirt in the mail and give it to them just because. It could be calling a friend that says, 2 years ago, you changed my tire. And I just wanted to remind you how much I love and appreciate you and what a good person you are. Wow. Those kind of gifts that you give to other people. Another word for that is serving the community when they least expect it will make you feel it makes you get out of yourself, because when you're feeling bad, you're feeling sorry for yourself. Right. And and their feelings are real. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. Because when I tell you, I have had more anxiousness since this whole thing has started. I really am anxious sometimes. But what I do is I really try to pay attention to what I'm thinking. Pay attention to what you're thinking. You can do something about what you're thinking.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I always say, if you wake up in a funk, if you're feeling anxious or depressed or sad, stop and think about what you're thinking about. Right. Stop and think about what you're and you can always put your finger on it. In the book, Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf, she talks about that none of us have control over the hundreds of thousands of thoughts that come to our mind. That's just the way we're wired. She said, however, what we do have control over is what we choose to meditate on. Right. So when the thought comes, you acknowledge it, and then now you have to make a decision what you're going to do with it, whether I'm going to continue to think on that. And if you do, you'll stay in a funk all day, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to choose to do something else. And Gloria, you just gave 101 great suggestions for what you can do to come out of that place of pity, self-pity, not feeling good when you bring joy to somebody else. So yeah, we got to be so conscious of, what we are about. But yeah, it's so many things that you can do, to have an attitude of gratitude and to be a blessing to so many other people and at the end of the day, I always say, as bad as you think you have it, it's somebody that got it way worse than you did. For real.
Right. Well, I read something the other day that said, rethink your expectations. They said part of why holidays feel lonelier for many people is that our society has traditionally set high expectations for this time of the year. The absence of a romantic partner, close family member really seems uncomfortable during this time of year. when we're supposed to be going to parties, exchanging gifts, enjoying jolly feelings for loved ones. But of course, it's not that way because of the pandemic. And so it's really looking fine. So they said one of the ways to deal with those feelings of loneliness is to rethink your expectations for yourself, for your family during this time of the year. So that brings me to our next question. What are some of the suggestions of rethinking those expectations for what you want to see happen during the holiday season?
Well,
normally, you would have said, I got everybody's coming over. It's going to be this. Well, it's not that way.
Right. I think that this has given all of us a chance to rethink, redesign, redeliver something that we had not done. I mean, I think so many traditions not only are getting pushed aside, but really they're getting replaced, or they're getting shifted for the year. And what's happened is a lot of people are finding out so many different blessings that they wouldn't have found before. I can give you my story. Like, I love Christmas, but I hate decorating. I mean, it's just, I heard T.D. Jakes say today, he said, I hate putting stuff up that I got to take down. I just he said, just leave it up there. And I remember my mother used to leave up her Christmas tree all year. That's where I get it from. I get everything from my mother. So I had somebody send me everything I need, get on FaceTime and tell me exactly where to place everything. All I'm saying is there's different ways in which we're going to create the experience of Christmas 2020, because it will be a Christmas we will never, ever forget.
Right. And for me, I like watching movies. So I like all the watch all the Christmas movies.
Nothing has changed. America, please know that the pandemic during Christmas,
I'm a homebody, so hey,
has changed for Nora. Nora, her traditions remain the same.
Every time you talk to her, I'm watching a movie. Then there ain't that many movies.
There's a whole lot, and now they have a whole lot of Black Christmas movies.
Yes,
which they didn't have before. So that was really good. I mean, I heard something the other day. They said, before the end of the year comes, think of something that really is hard for you to do, and do it before December 31st.
Wow.
Really? I was like, wow. And that was on a Christmas movie too.
Wow. Okay. You're not learning nothing from sitting and being a couch potato. Shut up.
Wow. That's another thing, because this Christmas, we're going to have more time to prepare for the new year.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a time when you just, I think we've all said it, you have to really pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Because it 1 minute at 1 o'clock, you could be super happy. At 3 o'clock, you can be super sad. And let me tell you something. You got to be careful of those movies you watch. Because if you watch a tear-jerking movie, you'll be crying for like 4 hours. If you watch a tear-jerking movie, or you can watch a comedy. So you have to decide what you're in right now, so that you watch the right kind of movie, that you feed your mind with the right kind of thing. And we say it all the time. And the other thing is, who's talking to you? Like, who's feeding you?
Right. And you know what? The other thing too is, when I just thinking about, Christmas and it being different, and traditions are being set aside, put on pause, new traditions are being made. But you know what? A great movie, it just popped in my head, was The Grinch That Stole Christmas. I mean, he went in, he hated Christmas. You all know the story. He went to the town, stole all of their stuff, and he just knew he was going to steal Christmas, because in his mind, Christmas was about the presents, the food, the this, the that. And then the day of Christmas, he was just waiting for everybody to have a come apart. Everybody was going to be crying and sad. And when he came out, to his surprise, Christmas was still there, because what he didn't know is all of that other stuff was just extra. But the real meaning of Christmas. And so even though we aren't able to celebrate the way we traditionally, Jesus Christ was still born.
Right.
We still have salvation. I mean, the real, and I'm gonna tell you what's coming out of this is we're really keeping the main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not getting lost in all of the packages, the shopping, the sitting out, missing. Nobody, thank the Lord, missed Thanksgiving dinner because they were sitting out waiting on the sale. I mean, I never understood how people miss Thanksgiving because they're waiting on a 16, 24-inch television. Are you for real?
Right.
So I think that for Christmas, we really are going to be able to keep the main thing the main thing.
I think the other thing too, guys, is that this is a time for you to acknowledge your gifts. You know, you could write a book. This is a time I've done more writing during this time. And so there's times that you can do things that you thought, things that you wanted to do or you desired to do, that you had dreams or visions to do, but you never did them because you were moving at a fast pace, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of gifts, and a lot of things that you can take up. You know, people, I'm looking for a really big, fabulous jigsaw puzzle, because when I do a jigsaw puzzle, it just takes me away from everything and makes me focus. And it's a challenge. I love it. It takes all my gifts and wraps it all up into one, you know? So I think that's a great point, Nora, that you guys, we can all pick up and do things that before we just didn't have the time to do. And so now you have the time to do it. You got to really sometimes make a list of the things you can be blessed about, because there's always plenty of things that you can regret about.
Right. So let's talk about cultivating the spirit of gratitude. You touched on it a little bit, Gloria, during this holiday season. Wow, there is so much to be thankful for during this holiday season, during this season of life with the pandemic, what's going on politically. I mean, there's just so much going on in the world that could take us away from the spirit of cultivating the spirit of gratitude. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's important to have a attitude of gratitude, because every single day that you wake up and you have been given 24 hours, you can always find things to be thankful for. I mean, just turn on the television, you think to yourself, oh my God, I'm so glad that didn't happen to me. You feel sorry for the other person, but you're counting your blessing that didn't happen. And we all know in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, something can happen. I know about a month and a half ago, a regular Sunday. And I said, you don't know whether or not you're one phone call away from your life totally being changed. And, we had our service at church, outdoor campus service, came home in the house, and I had to do something. And I was up late and I laid down and the phone rang, and it was Kiera. And I was like, what is Kiera calling? And I almost did not answer it because I was afraid. And I said, let me answer. And it was her. And she was calling to tell me she was just in a car crash. And I promise you guys know, I sent you the pictures. You saw how her car was absolutely totaled. And she walked away from that car. And so when you think about life and how short it can be, and how in 15, I had been with her an hour and a half prior. That sometimes I think about that and I said, do you know how that would have changed our entire life if the phone call had been different? And so when you think about that, it just reminds you of, you got to always walk around just with saying, Lord, I thank you. You're so I'm so blessed. I may not have every single thing on the face of the earth that I want, but the things that I have is all that I need. And I'm just so blessed. And I just think when you continue to think on how good God has been to you, and, in the church, we always say, the blessings that he gives us, and from the dangers seen and unseen, there are a lot of things that we don't even know that we were protected from. So I think keeping that heart of, thankfulness and gratefulness for what you have in spite of everything else that's going on. That would be my suggestion. Just always wake up grateful and thankful to God for being such a blessing to you and your family.
Right. I am listening to Chris. I tell people all the time, Chris said she never sees nothing negative. She just doesn't see things negative. I mean, so my advice to people is, who are you hanging around?
Yeah.
Who are you allowing to pour into you? I think what she's talking about in your question is so appropriate, Nora, that we do have a choice of being grateful or not. But you also have to be very careful who you choose to talk to.
Yeah.
I get off the phone with people who are choosing not to be grateful. I get off the phone with people who are choosing to be negative. I will go into my room and shut the door and do something all by myself. And I prefer to be around people if I'm around a group of people who are having a negative conversation. And I gravitate to people who choose to choose grateful. Because it's a choice. It's very much a choice. And so
Right.
when you really do pay attention, that you will have more fun when you
Right.
hang around people who love to thank God for everything all the time. The
Right.
seen and the unseen. That's when
Right.
you're at a deeper level of gratefulness and faith, when you know that you can't even acknowledge, you can't
Yeah.
even begin to acknowledge all the things that you have to be grateful for. But I will tell you that the people you hang around, I guess what I want to say to people is choose to step away.
Right.
That's good.
Or hang up the phone. No, just kidding.
Nora.
Oh, I got another call. Excuse me, I got to go right now. Well, you know what? Something that we coming upon closing, but something we learned early, and more so. I mean, I'm sure Chris realized it throughout her career, but for me, more so early in my career, because I was with you early in my career, and we worked very closely earlier in my career. And one of the things that you did teach us earlier on was the importance of putting the pen to the paper. Putting the pen to the paper. And so what are your thoughts on the importance of your, journaling your feelings and during this time, and keep, this time of the year, doing a lot more writing and journaling, like you said, stepping away. If you're, for example, losing loved ones during the COVID, and, how to deal with that. And sometimes, it's not always talking to somebody or being in the space of somebody, but sometimes it's just being quiet and still before God and letting God speak to you. And I love to journal. So, I just think journaling is a form of healing. And I think, Gloria, I thank you for that, because that's something that we learned earlier on. You always said, put the pen to the paper, put the pen to the paper, because it does so much. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that everyone needs to realize they have a story. Everybody has a story. And when you start to journal, many times all the feelings that you chose to hold in come out. And it also gives you places to see where your journey, whether it's during the dark or during the light, is a gift to someone else to be inspired. I think that I tell people the heaviest thing you can carry is a secret. It almost feels like when you put it in a journal and you close the journal, it's almost like you gave the secret away to somebody. Even if no one ever reads it, you're taking it off your heart and off your lungs and off your mind and off your brain and off your core stress level, and you've given it to someone else. And sometimes you place in this is for God to do box, but it's no longer yours to deal with. So some people, journaling, now you can type it out or whatever, but the most important thing is to get it off of you. If you can get it off of you, you will have a much better way of managing your emotions and get back to your joy spot when you remove those things from you.
That's good. That's good. Any thoughts on that, Sister Ellis?
No, I can't add anything to that. And both of you did it perfectly well.
Well, Gloria and Crisette, my two girlfriends, I want to thank you both for being our guests on Real Conversations with Nora. Are there any last minute comments that you'd like to share with the audience before we?
I do. No, I want to tell you that you've been doing a great job with these conversations. I love it when it pops up on my Instagram. That's where I see them. And it pops up there, and you always have some interesting women talking about some very various topics. So we're so excited to be here with you. And we're so excited that you chose to take this on, because they are real conversations. And even if sometimes I get the whole conversation, sometimes I get part of it, but I always get something from what I get. So keep going, because this is really positive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, Nora, we are just so proud of you and just how consistent you are. And I know your heart, you have such a huge heart. And one of the things that I know that you love to do is to bless other people. One of the things that I so enjoy about you is you're that person that when you meet somebody, you always delve deeper and deeper and deeper. And because of that, you're able to forge great relationships, because the thing that people like to talk about the most is themselves. And so you have I've watched you, I've studied you, and you literally are a phenomenal woman when it comes to meeting people. And it's so funny, because when I think about the many times that you've come, to be at my house or go to church, all of my friends, they all know you. You got their telephone number. I'm like, hold up. All of my friends are in your cell phone. Oh yeah, I talk to Nora. I look up my friends on the show. It's because literally, you know that saying, that person, he or she never meets a stranger.
Right.
That is the epitome of you. Nora, you meet Nora once, guess what? You might be on her show. You for sure gonna be in her cell phone. Flat out.
Well, I think it is. I think it was when we go back and think about things, it's like my grandmother. She was a relationship builder. I mean, she believed in building relationships, and she didn't meet a stranger. And of course, she was a Pentecostal woman, so you know how close they were in the church. And I just think sometimes we find ourselves, the attributes and the ways of our former generation of people, we never think about those things until you just thought it. And I said, it made me think, well, I'm named after her. It made me think of my grandmother. So thank you so much for those kind words, those encouraging words. I so do appreciate it. And once again, I want to thank you, Gloria and Chris, for joining us and giving us insight on the topics on today. And for our real conversation with Nora, please, audience, please join us on social media on BWOT MFG and on Facebook, Business Women on the Move for God. And visit our website at BWOTMFG.com. Make sure you stop by our retail store and find lots of great things for you, your family, and friends during the holiday season. Also, I ask you to share and watch the show with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where on Real Conversations with Nora. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Gloria and Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Love you both.